Morning everyone. Thank you ever so much for Nasmi, Womble Bond Dickinson for hosting us.
Today we're also using this roundtable and discussions as an opportunity to mark Muslim Heritage Month. This initiative today is part of Reach's efforts to get the conversation going, because we're very conscious that it's not just about what's happening within WBD. We're taking positive actions to support and ensure that we're inclusive within the workplace, but it's also about our clients, it's also about the wider community of stakeholders like yourselves, so that we can make a difference together.
So the three key aspects of this morning is to highlight and talk a little bit about Inclusion by Default, the campaign itself. Our ambition more broadly is for it to be adopted and adapted across the whole of North East and Tees Valley. We want it to be meaningful, we want it to be authentic, we want it to be distinctly different. So it's not about reinventing the wheel, it's very much about sharing. So to kick things off, if I could please encourage everyone to grab a pen and a post-it note and write down, what does inclusion mean to you?
Yes, so I am Zoe Hingston. My day job is Head of Inclusion at Newcastle United Football Club. I am responsible for not just policies, procedures, but training internally, externally. So looking at our fan base, our global fan base, and our internal actions that we do to create an inclusive workplace. What does inclusion mean to me? Obviously, that's a huge question, and you can write loads of things, but I think the thing that always resonates the most with me is the ability to thrive. I think when you have an inclusive workplace, it allows everybody to thrive, whether that's mentally with their health or in opportunities to progress in their careers and develop and learn.
My name is Sajda Nawaz-Bhatti. I am Head of Policy and Performance at Newcastle City Council. For this to work, we need to be data driven, we need to be held to account, and we need to show and demonstrate our outcome. What does inclusion mean for me? I think I've framed it in three key ways. One is belonging. You can bring your true self, you can be who you are and be true to yourself within any environment. It offers you opportunity that your life experience and your lived experience will influence, and that makes us better decision makers, and it gives you opportunities for success. You aren't held back because of who you are, you're offered opportunities regardless, and we recognise that actually inclusion drives success. It drives individual success but organisational success.
I am Sally Dallam. I'm a partner here at Womble Bond Dickinson. It's about champions. I think we absolutely need some champions to show that passion, that authenticity, to improve things for everybody. And I'm going to echo what people have said again when we look at what does inclusion mean to me. Starting with authenticity is essential. It's that sense of belonging and that ability to be your true self. And then my second point was somewhere where you could fulfill your own potential and you could support others to fulfill their potential, so a little bit like thriving. And then when actually start to explain what inclusion means to me. So for me, inclusion is safety, feeling safe to go into any place and be yourself without worrying about what someone else might be thinking or any consequences that you might face as a result, whether that's indirect or direct consequences.
So what do I feel that inclusion is? Being part of the community, being as one.
I'm Elaine Stroud and I run an organisation called the Entrepreneurs Forum. Part of the reason for getting involved is to look at and educate myself and my team about inclusion so that we can not have any blind spots, because I'm sure that we do at the moment. In terms of inclusion for us, I've written down welcoming everyone. We want to be an organisation that feel really comfortable getting involved with. And then secondly, I've written down celebrating, acknowledging and learning about differences and similarities.
I'm Imam Marza. I work at Newcastle University as a faith spirituality manager. There's a lot to say, but what I've written in terms of what does inclusion mean to me, I'm basing this really on my experience, and I've written down maintaining cultural identity. And I think when we look at culture within the context of businesses and workplaces, etc., and each business, each organization has its own set of values when it comes to inclusion or diversity or equality. And therefore, dependent on the foundations of particular organizations, the type of sort of inclusion that we get to see is based on the values and the principles of those organizations. Sometimes we are either influenced by politicians, by the rhetoric in the public spaces. We're also influenced by our own experiences as well. We bring that onto sort of workplaces, and as a result of that, we all then want to shape and forward a sense of identity and inclusion based on our own preferences. How do you correlate those? How do we correlate what the organization wants and what the individual wants? How do we ensure that when we actually talk about inclusion, it's representative and reflective of the people who actually matter?
My name's Mina Sophie, and I worked in the Home Office for many years. I was head of equality and diversity at the Home Office. When we talk about inclusivity, for me, it's about when you look at me and you see me as a person who has a need. I am who I am. Not the fact that that I belong to a particular faith, culture, or sort of age, or I'm female. And I want to be integrated. I want to be called to this. I want to be validated. I want to be respected. But I don't want to be seen as an Asian female who is a certain age, who ticks the right box, so I need to be invited to a meeting.
I'm Edward Troll, the Director of Health Equity and Inclusion at the North East North Cumbria Integrated Care Board. I think for me, what inclusion means to me, it's a very complex question. A lot of people touch on it. I think there's probably three things I would say. One is about thinking about the whole person in everything that we do. Thinking about the opportunity and value for those individuals that they can bring to the table. And if I was to say something probably a bit more corny, I'd probably say making sure that we have the ability and the opportunity for individuals to bring their best and whole selves to the environment that they work in, or their community, or indeed their home.
Hi everyone, I'm Sam Spurs. I own a talent business which builds high-performing teams for growing businesses within the region. For me, inclusivity, not just being inclusive, bringing people together, working together, celebrating diversity. And Elaine, I really like the diversity and similarities. I think sometimes we just say about differences, but actually, I was like, yeah, it's fabulous. Playing to individual strengths, I think that's important, regardless of demographics or anything. It's like the individual, what do they bring, and how can that help our business thrive? High performing teams with their celebration and the awareness of just other people and how people see things and their experiences. And definitely I agree with the safety, feeling safe and feeling like the security there to be the individual that you are, regardless of anything else.
My name is Louise Kempton. I'm a Professor of Urban and Regional Policy at Newcastle University. And I'm really thrilled that you're using this double-diamond approach, because that's at the heart of what we do. And I think that is a real key to being more inclusive, by spending the time to do that discovery and that defining. It's about inclusive innovation. I think we really need to do things differently. We need tools and frameworks. If you come to anybody here and say, show me your net zero targets, and they'll be able to give you all the data about carbon capture or whatever it is they're doing. If I say, show me your inclusion data, they don't really have anything to show. So inclusion for me then, it's probably links to what I've just said, is I think inclusion is where progress or change doesn't negatively impact on any person, community or group. And actually I thought that sounded a bit negative, so I turned it the other way around and said the benefits of progress or change are equally distributed.
We turned it on its head and talked about innovation. The likelihood is people are going to be more involved, they're going to be more open. How do we fix things or make them better, rather than how do we make you more inclusive, or how do we include these particular communities? How might we do that? And that's where YOLA comes about. So YOLA's mission is to inspire, empower and progress personal and organisational transformation through innovation. But the most critical element is about mindset. And there's so many studies over the last 20, 30 years in the main, that if you want to make sticky, sustainable, successful change, it's about developing the mindset and that growth mindset and that mindset to change. So the inclusive innovation framework, it's based on 3 principles. It's about communication, so it's about us coming together. It's about collaboration. It's about sort of starting to work meaningfully towards something. And the third, and for me the most critical, is that celebration. So how do we share that narrative? How do we tell those stories? How do we share that learning and that education as well?